guys, welcome to From the Ground Up, our podcast. Today it is just Joe and I know it's a Tuesday, a little off, but he was coming back from New Orleans. All our normal intro stuff. If you are looking to buy a snake or a t-shirt or a phone case or anything else like that, we have stuff like that on the website, Theportcitypythons.com. And if you are looking to buy something on Amazon, whether it's snake related or not, we have links in the info of this podcast. And if you follow that link and buy whatever you want on Amazon, it will give us a little kickback.
And then if you guys have any questions about any snakes, if you have any animals that you see on Instagram, you're like, hey, I thought you hatched that stuff out. Why isn't it on the website? Just message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Under the table, you know what I mean? Because you listen to the podcast or you watch us on YouTube.
Is that your like New York accent voice?
Yeah. Well, that was like my godfather.
Gotcha.
Give him a deal he can't refuse type of thing. You know?
Gotcha. Do I need to get a bottle opener?
Yeah, you want to do that?
It's weird when there's not a guest. I can't secretly ask.
I don't know how to. It's hard for me to start without a guest now. Like we haven't done it in so long that.
Sorry.
All right, good conversation. So simply who was it that asked before how to find a corn snake that is lost? Honestly, it depends what size. If it's a baby, they're very hard to lose. I mean, that's why
very hard to lose.
Very hard to find. Like
easy to lose.
Mostly impossible to find for a small baby if your room isn't kind of cut off from the world per se, or you don't have a sealed room. What you really need is a sealed room, but she said it's 2 years old, so it's got decent size to it. So I would just look everywhere that's dark, and yeah, I mean there's nothing else you can dark and warm.
Like baking
You're gonna
soda?
use microphone.
Yeah, like baking soda or something. Didn't we talk about that one time to follow tracks?
I don't know. But I want to talk about.
Okay. You didn't really give her any information.
You're not talking into a microphone.
I'm talking to yours. You told her just look in dark places. That's not a great answer.
Okay.
What else have you done?
Well, I just did a whole Q&A about it, so I feel like it's redundant for YouTube and the podcast.
When did you do a Q? Oh, in the video.
YouTube.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Well, we have more stuff about it on a video he made since he's pissy. Okay. Oh no. What did you have to say?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about our season so far and things that are going on here, and it's so crazy, and I haven't slept a lot.
And that's not the snake's fault. You haven't slept a lot.
No. That's this weekend's fault. But we just have a bunch of snakes going out, and it's not a terribly hard, like a terribly large amount of work to do what we do. But if you're gone for 4 days, it really, really like stacks up. Even if you're talking about like getting back to talking to people and all that. I just thought you
didn't ignore people for 4 days. No, I answered people.
No. Okay. Well, you're not letting me finish. So what I was going to say is that I feel like I need to do a better job of putting like systems in place for so you can create invoice when I'm gone, or you can create labels and stuff like that, like because as long as everything is uniform, like I want to make a template of what goes where. So we do a numbering system for our babies, and the invoice corresponds with the naming system, and then also corresponds with the customer. So the way I put that on invoice and everything, that's all in my head, and I keep it all organized in my head, but that doesn't do very good for when I'm gone and you're here. Like that just means I can never leave, or else that kind of stuff won't get done because I haven't told you what to do with it.
Right. That, and even so while you were gone this weekend, someone was asking for a picture of a snake. And we've been really good about keeping stuff on spreadsheets and everything. But I noticed you would inputted a picture wrong, and it's like it wasn't the correct number, but it sucks because I can't do anything about it because all the pictures are on your phone. And it's like I try to go get it, but like get a picture, but my phone's picture quality isn't nearly as good. And just all like
I died laughing a little bit at the picture
that I sent.
Yeah, because he's probably like expecting. I don't know if he knew he was talking to you.
I said it after I was like, sorry for the bad picture. It was multiple things. It was the picture that snake had bit me twice already trying to get a picture of it. So I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. It didn't want, like, there was just so many things. I was so over. I'm like, I just don't care. I'm sending a bad picture. But I didn't realize how hard it is to have two people, which is like, you want two people because in your head, it's like, oh, two people will always make it easier. But then we realize it's like, I just want a copy of everything. Like, I wish everything that was on your phone was on my phone and everything. Like, there was films of you making the invoice, or you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
I think that's something that like business in general, right? Like if you're gonna go from one employees to two, you better have a clear job description of the second person, and you also got to have things in place and standards in place and something, universal that I follow, you follow, so we both are on the same page all the time. But I mean, we're just in the beginning as far as the number. We've never had anywhere close to this number of snakes and things to keep track of.
Right.
And then so therefore we're like kind of like learning as we go and messing up and figuring out what's good and what's bad and what to keep and what to throw away. And I don't know. I just thought about that a lot today because I was packing boxes all day and was like, there has to be an easier way to do all of this.
What do you mean? Packing snake boxes is hard?
No, well, just like, it doesn't sound hard. It's not hard. It's not hard, but it's like creating all the labels or printing out invoices, or because I needed to make more labels because we ended up having more snakes going out because you sold a snake while I was gone. So we at least were able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
But I still had to do the invoice and stuff because I didn't tell you how to do it, or the label because I didn't tell you how to do it and all that stuff. So I was just thinking, we really need to
we need to
sit down
and watch.
But it's hard because whenever I do stuff like that is during the day at home,
and I'm working,
and you're working, or you're barely home really at all ever. So
thanks.
Between the two of us,
we're ships passing in the night.
Is that what they call it?
That's the expression. Yeah. Ships in the night.
I just never heard you say that.
Oh, okay. 2 Brandons back to back are watching now.
Sweet. Thank you guys.
We know. Why is Brandon such a popular name in the snake? I guess it's a popular name in the whole world.
Yeah.
But it feels like in the snake world, there's a ridiculous amount of Brandons.
Yeah, we know
more than any other name is Brandon's.
I don't know. I don't think you've done the research. There's probably more Joes
then we
or
know
or something.
I don't know one Joe in the snake world. Joe Swinski. That's
Joe Switowski.
I don't know who that is.
There's even more Joe Skis than.
Yeah, but there's no. That's it. That's 2 Joes.
No, I could think of another.
And that's like the most common name in the world, but they're not in snakes. We don't know. We know like 2 Michaels. There's probably more. That
makes sense. There's a lot more. But
I don't know. That's a total random aside.
Yeah. I'm like trying to pull you off talking about names for like 20 minutes.
Sorry, Brandon said Joe Monty. I don't know who that is.
And one Justin.
Okay. Well, then what did you want to talk about if you wanted to pull me off of name talk?
Well, no, I want to talk about trying to think of what project. Well, we could talk about the Amel Buff thing. And actually, no, we kind of touched on that before.
I feel like you'll need Sarah on for that. Watching you and Sarah talk about like genetics of our babies, it literally, I try to follow it. Like even the other day. So we did what is the pairing? A coral, I can't remember, coral ghost stripe to a, what was the other one?
Oh, to a ghost.
To just a ghost?
Yeah.
Okay, coral ghost stripe to just a ghost. And we made kind of all these different babies. And we were originally selling them. We had just the ghost babies, the ghost het stripe babies, ghost tessera het stripe.
Well, yeah, there's ghost, tessera, het stripe,
and then coral,
ghost,
yeah,
and tessera, yeah.
And then coral ghost, het stripe. But Sarah Moore commented, and can you, in a dumbed down version, explain the coral does it exist? Does it not exist? I'm confused.
What's wrong is that there's something wrong. There's an actual, which is why it's confusing. It's confusing for a reason, is because coral was always thought to be a line bred trait, that you made the ghosts more pink, you made the snows more pink by breeding the pink to the pink. But
so it wasn't actually a gene thing. It was just a prettier version.
Something that we just happened to perfect in captivity, because so breeding, like, one came out with a little pink, so we bred that one to another one that came out with a little pink,
kept
blah,
going.
blah, blah. But turns out it's probably more of a passed on genetic trait. So, which is called, a lot of people would call it red factor. There's also red coat. There's also I'm sure there's some other reds, but so coral, now it's so stupid.
So is it not? It's not. It doesn't exist technically.
But it does, because we still use it. But we used to think that coral also may have come from, in the ghost, it may have come from it being anery strawberry. So strawberry is just a different kind of hypo. Put hypo to anery, you get a ghost. Whether it's,
what do you do? You get hypo to strawberry.
Whether it's a strawberry ghost or a strawberry anery or a hypo anery, they act and
they still make the
go
same
together
thing
in the same way. But we didn't think that was the case, and started calling things coral for a long time. And then it ended up being red factor. So
I'm still so confused.
I know.
Okay. I don't like when we put names on line bred stuff, because then I think it gets confusing for the newbies like me. Because in my head, up until we had this discussion, I thought coral was a genetic thing, because I just assumed it.
It is.
Anything else we say is a genetic, palmettos, genetic thing. Or oketees, that's not a line bred thing. I feel
you're talking about, you didn't know if it was a mutation. Obviously, it's genetic.
Right, that's what I mean. It's a mutation. I think anything we line, we have high white oketees. Right. Clearly, those are line bred to be high white, but it's not like you're throwing another name. It just could.
No, but you do also, because Sarah was talking to me about the. Okay, so some people, when they put a Miami oketee together, they just call it Miami oketee, and then the second generation, you take that Miami oketee to a regular oketee, and some people would call that a buckskin. And then the reverse version of that, some people would just call it a high white oketee. Or there's actual high white oketees that are called high white oketees. There's really confusing jargon that everyone's used and misrepresented, and because people didn't really know what was going on with genetics. So
why wouldn't a Miami oketee to an oketee? Why does that? So
what I do is I just sell, this is a Miami oketee, second generation, Miami oketee to this high red oketee. And now also that high red oketee, it's high red because it has red coat.
So we're supposed to call it red coat oketee?
Yeah. And I think it's red coat because it made that anery that we hatched out really dark. And then there's some babies that are high orange for their age, and there's some babies that are pretty dull. The ones that are dull are probably going to be more vibrant and crazy even than the high colored ones, but we're going to keep a few high colored ones. And we also made some snows and randomly, but and those have hints of pinks and reds in them. We'll see how those grow up, but
I thought I would understand this after this conversation. I definitely don't.
It's much more confusing than you could ever imagine. And I wish I had someone like Sarah who could really take it more specifically back in history of when everything happened, because I know all that of which happened, but I don't know why and who and all that stuff.
I feel like in corn snakes, they need to you need to get approval before you start calling stuff. Like, I just feel like people start throwing out these names and they're like, oh, this is going to be this. But then you find out, or then someone else is already calling it something else. And then it just, I feel like there needs to be an approval system before you can call something, especially in corns. It's also crazy.
I think that we should just be clear. Well, it's also because corns is a little bit older. So it's much easier now to keep in the loop with everyone because of Facebook and all that stuff. But if these guys were in the early 90s or 80s or, you know, somewhere between right before the message boards or even when the message boards first came up, like people necessarily maybe weren't as connected and on the same page.
Right.
And plus we were a lot more naive to genetics, especially in snakes. And really ball pythons is the beginning of when it became mainstream genetics, and obviously albino berms and stuff like that. But now it seems like if you don't know genetics, like people would frown upon you, but it's really kind of
so
new to the community.
I understand people not knowing it. It's hard.
Yeah.
And even, it's very hard to understand. I feel like you need to be a little bit of a biologist or geneticist.
No, because we're kind of, I think the issue is that no one's a geneticist or a biologist, and we were naming these things. That's probably the root problem. If we were genetics, we wouldn't start naming shit immediately.
See, that's why there should be like a board of geneticists who approve people's new shit. I know it's never gonna happen because we're all just weird snake people.
It's also there would be geneticists that disagree, or there would be a group of people that hated the geneticist who was making the decision, and then they would just do their own thing anyway. So yeah, there's a whole. I mean, I don't think we're all going to ever agree and get on the exact same page.
But then it makes it hard when you're trying to sell stuff.
Right. But I mean, there's just different ways that people see it. So I want to be very, very 1 + 1 = 2 with what I'm selling you. It's a rhyme, but I didn't mean to do that. You had to say it again in your head.
Yeah, there's a lot of words in that sentence.
So like now you got me distracted with
it's not my fault. But I think it's also important to be very transparent. Like back to when the girl was asking about coral stuff, like we were upfront with her and said, like, hey, we think these are corals, but we cannot say 100% because of all this craziness. And it's like, we can sell you one we think is a coral, but we're not going to put that name on it. And I don't think every breeder is doing that. I think many breeders would just be like, oh, that's a coral. I'm going to call it, you know, like I have 75% sure it's a coral, so I'm going to sell it as that.
Mm-hmm. Well, for most people, it's because it's the difference, especially in corn snakes, because it really doesn't matter. It's going to a pet home and someone's paying either $50 or $75, depending on, you know, that one gene that's off. And I can understand that, but that's exactly how we get people on like the Facebook pages saying, what's my snake? The breeder said it was this and this. And then people are like, yeah, no. Well, why don't we stop doing that? Even though it doesn't seem like a big deal. It would do us all a service, especially people like us who actually answer people. You know, a lot of these people get them on shows or someone on Craigslist who, you know, they're not even a snake breeder.
Right.
Or, they may have misunderstood something. So I think it's important to do all we can to get it right or be transparent about it, even if the customer doesn't care to know all about it.
Right. You should still let them know because they might know, I don't know, 3 months from now, but for some reason they don't want it. They wouldn't come back to us to ask, they go ask the groups. And so it's like, we want to tell them everything now, you know, and do it. And just being, I think obviously customer service is going to get harder the more snakes we have, but I think it's nice that we can do that now. Like people have asked us for parent pictures and this and that. I'm like,
we also probably talk to people a lot. We probably waste a lot of our own time. Like we're probably not very business efficient as far as our customer service. The hours are from when we wake up to when we fall asleep, and we fucking answer everyone.
Yeah.
That's so. We'll probably get real sick of that in like a few years.
But the thing is, it's like it's only gonna last this for a couple months of the year. You know, when this is happening, once we stop selling babies, it's gonna go down a whole lot. But then I don't know. I look at Chris Cersei, Ball Pythons 101, everyone on Instagram, and he posts like stories of his DMs, and it was like 300 DMs. I'm like, that sounds
and that
awful.
sucks because I sell probably at this point, what have we sold? 80% of our snakes through Instagram?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say we sold 80%. No. I thought you were gonna say we sold 80% of our snakes. I'm like, no, babe. But yes, 80% of what we've sold, I would say, is from Instagram, and 20 from fauna and stuff. None from Facebook.
Yeah.
Or no, actually, maybe one. Maybe one.
It's also there's no it's hard for me to get back to people. Facebook is just a whole thing, but I don't post on the groups too anymore because it just gets lost immediately, or someone will be like, that's expensive, or someone will compare a different snake. For me, it's just our customers are like people who came to us for a snake. It's not someone who is looking for a snake. So I don't. All right, yeah, that's a terrible way to say
that. Was such a weird sentence.
The people who have bought snakes from us are people that are looking for snakes from us. They're not looking for
just
through the Colubrid Classified to buy any random snake. And that's due to the fact that we actually market. And I think that's important for everyone to kind of get that across, because I could understand that you don't want to market yourself or do all that, but you're going to probably deal with a lot of bullshit in comparison. Our transactions are pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Despite I'll send like 50. I checked an email the other day and I was like,
50 back and
we
forth.
have 50 back and forth. Like, but realistically, it's someone who isn't a pain in the ass because they know who we are and they know everything. And then we also have like videos and stuff on stuff, which helps too. But I feel like it's good having people just coming for your snakes and for
you,
someone who knows you and stuff like that, rather than someone off of fauna from a random email. Like, we get like no tire kickers in comparison, and that's not like a brag or anything.
It took me a second to understand
know what that means. Meaning, like, we don't have like a ton of people who hit us up randomly.
Yeah, and then don't end up.
And it definitely happens, but
I don't know. It doesn't bother me at this level.
Actually, it's probably because we get hit up for random questions all the time. Because like I feel like some breeders and stuff, when they post something up for sale on a group or fauna or something, and then they have to by the way, we never hit record on audition, so that's a good start. But yeah, well, I'm gonna extract the audio from the YouTube video, so don't even bother doing it now.
Okay.
But so they don't want to answer the general care questions and the whole like asking you all about the animals, and people barely know what a corn snake eats, right? And we're used to fielding those questions. Some people are like, nah, like,
yeah, not again. But
yeah.
And especially
once again,
me,
ask us in a couple of years, maybe we'll get real sick of that. I don't know.
And especially for me, who I didn't know all this stuff a year ago, and I still don't know much. It doesn't bother me because I still have questions, and I'm like, I can't fault them for having questions if I still have them, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've all had questions, but I mean, I still don't know freaking so much about corn snakes and everything, and
dude, that's not true.
No, what I'm more genetically like the weird nuances of different things, and I feel like if someone asked me about a lavender corn snake, like I can find you someone to talk about it, but I am really not, because we don't hatch them out.
We don't have them.
Yeah, if you want to identify a honey or talk to me about honeys or buff or stuff that we hatch out, like, yeah, I can talk a lot more on that. But some different genes that we don't work with, or some just things, because I don't check like Facebook groups a lot or anything. Like I'll just talk to people like Sarah and stuff like that about corn snakes. So, and I feel, and to be honest, we're not like as hooked into the community even as we are a lot of the other communities, as far as that goes. But so there's like a lot of things that go over my head as far as the genetics and the weird names we have for stuff. And there's lines that have come from who knows where, but it's all just a way to market, I mean, your animal. So that's really all it comes down to. So, and I want to market it differently than anyone else is doing it, just like the people before me who made up the names wanted to do it too. It's just we don't do it by calling it like a cool name or something, but we want to do it by putting stuff out there in the community more so. And I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's been cool to have so many babies and be messing.
What's been the hardest part
about all the babies? The fact that actually it's the space. So
I want to talk to you about that actually.
Okay.
Well, you go first.
Yeah, so it's been the fact that all of our babies are in the closet and all that, and our adults are in the closet, and there's a lot of stacking and stuff on top of each other, stuff that isn't as streamlined as I want it to be, stuff that isn't so accessible. So feeding will probably take me like 2 to 3 times longer than it should, just because our space is really
getting
inefficient
them down,
with
putting them all,
because we have a bunch of tubs and small Tupperwares and stuff like that are stacked on top of each other. It would be much different if you had all pull-out racks, or it'd be much different even if you have a space where my ideal situation, which I think we're going to set up something like this because we are going to have the space when we move, which if no one knows, we're moving in like 5 days.
Because we've decided we are going to keep the snakes in the basement in the new place, but it's just a tile floor. There's nothing there. So right now, all of our stuff is in a closet with shelving. So what we haven't even, I can't believe we haven't talked about this. That hasn't come up. What the heck are we going to do?
Wait, about what?
All those babies and stuff. Like, are you going to build something? Or are you trying to buy another rack? I think we should build something.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is my ideal situation is to have, no matter what, snakes are all along the walls, right?
Right.
And then what I want is to have a big table in the middle so that even when I do have a lot of babies stacked up, I have room to say, this might sound weird for someone who doesn't do colubrids because you're messing with so many little tubs, but I will keep like 100 of the tubs on my left-hand side and have a bunch of pinkies in the middle. And then what I do is I throw a pinky in the tub and I move it to the right. So I said I fed that baby. Okay. And then keep on putting them in. And then obviously all the ones to the right have been fed already. So that I know that when I come back, I'm going to check on the babies. If they ate, put them to the left, give them a check mark on the feed card.
I thought they were already on the left once you put the thing in.
No, I put them on the right.
What? Okay.
So fed babies are on the babies with pinkies in the tub are on the right. And then I saw you ate, I move you to the left. You didn't eat yet, I keep you on the right. So therefore, I'm keeping track in my head who ate, who didn't, because at some point when I'm on the 80th baby, the first baby probably ate. And if I lose track of who I put it in with, then I don't know if the baby ate or not. I might be able to see a lump, but I don't want to have any guesses. Or the pinky's down in the substrate and then it's going to rot in 2 days. Like you don't want to miss that as well. So those things are things that I need to work out. So that's why I want a big table on the end, just more space to move things around.
But you didn't talk about there's no shelving, and I know you don't want them all on the ground, so you didn't talk about that. That's what you said at the big table part. But you didn't.
I'm probably going to do just plastic racking. Says not not these kinds of racks.
Like one of those
like hardware racks.
Hardware racks.
Like you get them at Home Depot. There's these racks that you can set up. I don't know how shelving. It's just like storage.
Similar
shelving.
to like in the closet, or no?
Yeah, we can do that as well. It's either wire racks or something that is external.
I saw this, and I've never seen this before.
That's a built rack. Well, the thing
Obviously,
is,
if you're listening, you can't see it, but if you're watching, I kind of liked this because
but it's melamine, and the fact is that melamine, that rack is probably about 400 pounds or
oh Jesus.
No, it's probably really like 150 200 pounds, and melamine also doesn't hold up well, so we're messing with animals that need humidity, and then that wood is going to soak up, no matter if it's it's coated and stuff like that, but over time it will start absorbing some water, start chipping, warping, all that stuff.
Where is it getting water from?
So that will last you like a couple years maybe, and it's heavy as shit. So
okay. Well, Dan says get some from Dan said get a rack from Animal Plastics. James said
Dan said no, it's funny.
Is it a joke because they won't get there next week?
He said get some racks from Animal Plastics. They'll get there in a week. So meaning
like next year. Yeah. next week.
But I'm going to.
So you don't want to buy a baby rack?
Well, why I don't like using baby racks is because most of them aren't really perfect for colubrids. Although I think Sea Serpents kind of makes one. There's a few people who make good ones, but they also kind of even the Sea Serpents one, they're so small that it has like zero grow out potential. It's like it can store the baby from 0 months to maybe 2 or 3, and then they grow out it a little bit too quick for me.
But what we have them in right now is
it's bigger. It's bigger than
really the little food containers are bigger.
So little takeout container is bigger than actually what they make the baby racks out of.
Wow.
And I just don't like putting them in something that's small. I just don't.
Okay.
It's not efficient as far as I don't want to have to move them up all the time, or you have a baby that doesn't sell for a few months and you got to move it up and yeah. It's just that's what works for me is the tubs.
Have you ever heard of Edsel shells? I can't talk. Edsel shells is what Dan said. 4x2. I don't know what those are.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of them, but so you can get like storage shelves at Walmart for people's garages. Yeah, that's exactly like what
shells is what you want.
Well, no, we're going to start off with something like lower quality than that and then build up.
So, but then how many would you put on a shelf?
So I would like to, with the plastics ones, you can saw them down. So you can be a little bit more efficient with it than say a metal one, even though a lot of those you can move them up and down and whatnot. But in a perfect world, you have one level on a shelf as far as the adults in tubs, one for each animal. But maybe a couple, maybe one for each animal. For the babies, obviously there's going to be some stacking no matter what.
Right. But I mean, we're stacking right now, and so
stacking is a lifelong pursuit with the babies.
Unless you had wall-to-wall shells, it's not gonna, Okay, Gustavo says to build shells like he made, and he sent us.
Yeah, that's exactly the same racks that the plastic rack I'm talking about. So I think they're made, but there's like HDX or something.
Basically, you can get these at Home Depot?
You can get these Walmart, Home Depot. Walmart has lower quality ones. The Home Depot one, that one's a little bit more heavy duty.
Now that looks heavy.
No, they're very light.
Okay.
So
I like that they're ventilated on the bottom. Like they're not that, it has the holes on the, or whatever, not holes, slits on the bottom.
Yeah. But his are actually put down so much that it kind of makes a rack. But
right. So do you want it similar to that or no?
I would probably still be stuck using lids just because I guess I could I've seen it done before. I knew a kid who had like he kind of put what's that board that like not cork board, but some type of board, because obviously there's grates in the bottom, so you can't just put the tub in there. Obviously, the snake just crawls out the top. You understand? So you need to make it. You need to make it a flat surface
on top.
Yeah.
So you don't. Okay, it's not good to have the slits in, because then they can just crawl. But if it's close enough,
and then the same thing with the board happens with the melamine. I'm just from a perspective
Gustavo says
of what is going
whiteboard on
to.
top.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need lids. Yeah. Because whoever we were talking to, I guess it was it Dave or Dave Kaufman or someone we were talking to recently who said like their finger hurt after flipping lids. I was just opening lids. I don't even know what I was doing. I was doing something the other day, trying to find or look at some snakes. My finger hurt.
That was Andy who was talking about.
Oh, it was Andy. Yeah, at dinner. Literally, those little things, after 10 of those, fuck, like my finger is raw. And so I can't even imagine you when you feed all of them. And they're not easy flip. Like, and they're hard to open.
There's some of those babies that you open it and they fucking fly out.
They jump out of there.
And then they're freaking just crawling around all over the place. It's a nightmare, but it's what, so you gotta do it a little bit, throw a pinky in there. But yeah, there's definitely better ways, but we also need to be cost effective with everything. And like once we're done moving and we can
go back to normal and not spend $600 on U-Hauls.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Once we get all those moving costs out of the way, we can think about that. But I like Gustavo's idea of that. And I like how it looked and everything.
Yeah.
The good thing is that we will have space, and that basement's pretty big, and so we can spread stuff out and do what we want. And you guys won't be seeing mattresses on the background of our podcasts anymore.
That's true. We probably won't even have the computer where the snakes are. So
no, yeah, we will. I thought we were gonna do both in the basement because you wanted to make.
No, we're not, because it's gonna be 80 degrees.
Oh, fudge. Okay, well,
we're putting it up in the office. Why would we have multiple bedrooms and not? What the hell are we gonna put in the other bedroom?
Well, then the mattress will be in the back.
Babe, that mattress is not going.
Yes, it is. Okay,
we're on a podcast. We're not talking about this.
You started talking about the mattress. No, we've already said they're both going.
Okay, well, that's not true. But
it don't matter now. It's supposed to be a guest bedroom, not.
But yeah, my hope is to, as far as the podcast, as far as everything, there will be like an actual background, or there'll be something mediocrely appealing in comparison to what we have now, as far as the podcast and just video, anything goes. What?
I'm so mad right now.
Why?
Because whatever. It's okay. Hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
Keep talking.
So just setting up everything and taking, I don't know. It's not 100% thought out yet. I mean, obviously you guys will see the room. I'll probably make a video when we get it all set up.
Of course. Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm not 100% how it's going to be, but also some things need to be different places, and just, it's a whole thing.
What do you mean?
There's things that I've told you that we need to do. As far as, I'm not going to keep the carpet pythons in the same place. I'm going to keep the corn snakes.
And we've talked about putting the green tree back in a tub.
Yeah.
Which people might get pissed at us for that, but it's for the best for our snake.
Well, it would be a tub that's still tall with multiple perches.
Right. A really, really big tub.
The issue is if it was a flat tub that you're putting in a rack.
Which we wouldn't. No, we're going to give it a good size. We just.
Well, no, it has to be smaller. That's the issue. I put like a 2.5, 3-year-old green tree in a 2x2x3, and I think it's a male, and he's on the smaller side. So that's what you need for like a giant female. And he just isn't doing great in the big one. Like, he had a bad last shed. He still eats every time, but he's like looking a little dehydrated and a little probably stressed out from seeing us so much and all of that stuff. So believe it or not, green trees are kind of a pain in the ass to take care of.
So something like this or smaller?
Yeah. So exactly like
Okay.
that. I forget what size those tubs are considered.
Sorry for people who are listening, but we're showing lots of pictures.
I may start off a little bit smaller than that and see.
I found this thing on Instagram and it has like 5 different pictures. I'm like, oh, all these things look so interesting.
Used all those pictures. So
yeah, so something like I've never seen these big tubs in a kind of rack system like this.
So moving is going to allow us to do some things that I've been wanting to do and move some things around to do just things that I've been meaning to do, but we don't have the space, or having separate rooms is such a big thing.
Yeah.
Because we do our best to separate people, or like if quarantine is happening, we try the best to separate animals. Or it used to be the closet was quarantine room, and then now we have adults and all this
right.
stuff. And then like
we don't have a quarantine. We have a quarantine corner right now.
Yeah. It's because like we haven't been able to.
We just don't have the place. Like where else are we gonna put it in this apartment? There's no other place to do it.
Yeah. So I mean, we just can't. We need to get a space that allows us to have things like a quarantine room, an ambient room, as well as a room that's regular room temperature for the carpet pythons.
It sounds like your dream house. You have 3 rooms already dedicated to snakes. Where the rooms? You're already saying you need 3 different rooms for snakes. That's a little far, babe.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that you need different things. If you're going to have a collection of different types of animals, different species, and you're going to be doing it on a consistent basis, as far as you don't want animals going out to be mixed with animals coming in. I know we don't have many animals coming in, but if at one point we could have a bunch of animals coming in,
you don't want it to mess up the whole collection.
That's a super issue. Yeah, that's a super big issue. And I mean, it's obvious to most people, but some people don't know the general, like, I want to call them courtesies, but it's more like standards, as far as if you're selling animals, you can't you can't have an animal that you just brought in right next to a baby that you're sending out or something like that. There's just too much room there for error, and any error comes back on you tenfold.
But question, is it, so I know we always talk about like if we think one is like sick or like not doing well, we will touch that and like not touch any others for the whole day or something like that. But can they not be in a room if you're not touching it? Like is stuff airborne that can affect? Is it only like if I touch this snake and then go and it's sick, or like?
Well, you don't know what it is if it's.
But is there airborne stuff in snakes? Is that a known?
I am
thing?
Sure there is. Yes, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Okay, because I don't know. Just in my brain, I'm like, as long as I don't touch this one and then don't touch another one.
Right, but
then we know like Nido can spread, or mites can spread.
Something like mites spread on their own.
Yeah.
You can't have another one in the room. Even though I have had snakes in one, a snake in a rack get mites, and then the next one, it never spreads, because if you do it correctly.
If you catch it quickly enough.
Yeah, and then isolate the issue, then you're good. And by the way, that happens. When that has happened, and it is not anything bad to the people that I have gotten it from, but you get out there and go to someone's collection or handle animals at a show or something like that, that's how you get them most of the time, or that's how I've gotten them, at least. But haven't had many animals that I've bought and brought in have mites. But that's just, I think we've been kind of lucky in comparison to people that I know, because that has happened to a bunch of people. So
we probably talked about this before, but is there certain types of snakes or substrate or something that's more prone to mites, or it just anything, everything, all the same, all up for grabs?
A cold-blooded animal is near it that's susceptible to mites and everything. There's no way. I mean, you can say definitely newspaper is going to increase your chances of being able to treat them. That's
Because
for
you
sure.
see them.
Yeah, because you're going to see them quicker. Or who knows? Maybe that's why, because a lot of our colubrids are on aspen. And although I've had the pythons, I've had, maybe I haven't had an animal coming with mites now that I think about it. Because I've treated both pythons and colubrids, and it seems like maybe the aspen substrate, because I keep the colubrids on aspen and I keep the pythons on newspaper. And it seems like the pythons, I have had them spread once, and I haven't had. And this is only an occurrence that's happened like 3 times or so. And if you haven't gotten snake mites, then you just haven't gotten enough
you haven't
snakes
been keeping
or
for long enough.
You haven't been keeping snakes long enough, because
you're gonna
it's part of it,
it's
unfortunately.
Like, it's like a common cold, and humans you would equate it to like everyone's gonna get
and
it
it's
at
easy
some point.
to treat.
But then I feel like even though it's so common or whatever, I see people on social media still get so much hate for it.
Yeah.
Or is that because of other things that they're getting that hate?
Well, if you're neglectful to the fact that this is going on, or you deny anything going on, or if you bring an animal to a show with mites, like, come on, man, you should have at least taken a look at
we
your
were talking
animal.
about transparency earlier. That's not what me. Don't just show the world your mites. So we're not being transparent that way.
Yeah.
Let's just treat that and not bring them.
Yeah. And there's many things like that, but
they can't kill a snake, can they?
I mean, people will tell you that they will, but honestly, you would have to be neglected so hardcore for that to happen. It will definitely drop their immune system and make them more susceptible to other things. I mean, just like any
common cold makes you,
just like any human, just like if you got,
if you got sick, you're more open to other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
But
oh gosh, okay.
But we did, talking about mistakes and stuff, we did have our first snake that I've ever shipped die during delivery.
But that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
It's
I
annoying.
Still feel shitty about it.
I know. Though. And another thing we talk about off the podcast, when are you going to send her another one?
We're sending it right now.
Oh, you're doing that today?
Yeah.
Okay, she chose one?
Someone needs to stop texting me.
Because I remember at one point she
ended up choosing another snake. So I was just pick pretty much whatever snake within a reasonable,
what did she choose?
Range in between. She just got a different sunkist.
Okay.
But it was hard because we were both like, because that first sunkist was
the one
nice.
We sent her was the best one we had.
Yeah. So I was like, listen, I will give you another snake, or I will give you something with more genetic potential or more genes in it, because, I want you to get the best experience that you can. Right. Because I understand that the other one's still nice, but that first one, I know that that's the one that she wanted, and I know that that's the one I wanted to give her.
And it just sucks.
Yeah.
And obviously most people listening...
We should elaborate also on the situation.
That's what I was about to explain before you cut me off. Obviously most people listening or watching, you've bought a snake, or maybe you've even shipped a snake because you're a breeder. But if you don't know, when you purchase a snake through FedEx, which is the only company that will ship snakes, UPS will not do live animals. So you have to go through FedEx, which sucks because that's your only option. And when you ship through FedEx, it has to go to a hub, whatever the closest hub to you is.
Oh, it doesn't have to. Oh, you mean during the process, like Memphis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not saying if
because you can also ship it to a local hub, but that's a whole nother thing.
Right. But I'm saying going through it, like we drop it off at our FedEx, and then like we were even shipping.
It goes from our FedEx. We were shipping to like the.
We were trying to ship to Houston, and it still didn't. You tell me it still has to go to Memphis.
It still goes through a hub, and I'm not sure which hub it is.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, when we ship to Florida and South Carolina, that area, it has to go through Memphis. So it sucks because you want to be able to get it there as quick as possible, but the processing. And so what happened to us is it went to Memphis. Actually, it was two snakes going. somehow one went out and our second one didn't. And talking to FedEx is the most difficult process in the whole world. And on one side, they piss me off and they really make me mad. And then on the other side, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, they are shipping probably what? You think they're shipping 1 million things a day? Is that a little high?
No, that's probably super low, but
you think they ship over
I
1
don't
million
know.
things
I have
a day?
no idea. I have zero idea.
Well, total ballpark, they probably ship over 1 million things a
But
day.
I think
and they
the
are probably
thing,
getting calls.
the number that matters more is that they're shipping probably 1,000 reptiles a day, whether you like to think it or not. But
that's crazy.
There's enough people that they're shipping. Like they should know what the fuck a snake is.
No, but see, at the same time, I'm like, they're shipping so much.
It's a drop in the
they're
bucket.
answering calls all the time, and there's always going to be a problem somewhere. So in that way, I'm like, okay, like, I am just one little person. I mean nothing to them. Like, they have a whole lot, so I shouldn't get so angry. But then the selfish part of me is like, crap. Like, why can't you just answer the damn phone? Or like, when something goes wrong, you should be able to press a button, FedEx, and be like, this is what's happening, and it automatically tells the person. So at least we know what is happening. Even if they can't fix it, even if they cannot do anything about it, let us know what's going on. That's the biggest thing.
There's zero communication. If you've never had anything go wrong with FedEx, you call them and then they make like a little report and then they tell you that someone else will get in contact with you in 24 to 48 hours. So if you guys know, that means that by the time someone contacts you, it's pretty much a matter of life and death of your animal. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we shipped it overnight for a reason. I don't want it in the box for more than 24 hours, especially during the summer, especially in the South, because it was 95 degrees in the hub all day, which usually is not a problem because I put a heat pack in there, but the heat pack lasts about 24 to 36 hours.
I always call them ice packs.
Oh, yeah.
That's
well,
stupid.
Ice pack.
I thought it was to keep it from getting too hot.
Yeah, it is an ice pack.
So I'm not wrong.
I don't know.
You're wrong.
Sorry, I said it by accident.
Sorry.
You should have corrected me sooner.
I was correcting myself. I thought, okay, never mind.
Yeah, so clearly I didn't put a heat pack in there, but although I could have just went with it and you would have called heat packs ice packs for the rest of your life. But
well,
or ice packs heat packs.
I always think that you know more than me in the snake world, so I automatically second guess myself, and so I should have.
But so I put it in there, everything, but yeah, they do have these things called like phase 22s that are supposed to last a long time, but it doesn't. For me, it's never an issue. The snake is supposed to get there in 24 hours, and it's just shitty.
So wait, what did they say the reasoning was? You ended up getting a reason, right? You said like something with the plane or...
Yeah, so basically, well, they didn't tell me exactly what happened. All they said is there was an error there was like a sorting error or something.
Oh,
like, okay, cool. That really...
So they put it in the non-reptile area or something. Like, I don't know.
It just got lost somewhere between the process and missed a plane and didn't get where it was supposed to. And so, of course, they delivered it 24 hours later. And the snake was dead because it's going to Florida. So
it's hot in Texas. It's hot in Memphis.
Hotter than
it's
the
hot
day.
In Florida.
It's hotter than the day I intended it to get there. So
really?
If you're in Texas or if you're in the South, you're waiting 2 weeks for a day that's 92 degrees or 95 degrees so you can finally get this animal out. Right. But guess what? That window is probably small during the summer because here, the normal temperature is more like 105. So for it to be 95 degrees is an anomaly, and maybe it's raining or something for one day.
As I was about to say, the only reason it's cooler today is because it rained yesterday.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. And I think that's like maybe one of 3 rains this whole summer. It has been a very dry summer in Dallas, and that's why we've been so hot. Like, we feel so bad when we're messaging people being like, hey, I don't know when we're going to be able to send this. Like, that's the best thing I can tell you is like, we don't feel comfortable. Like, I feel bad that you paid for this snake 2.5 weeks ago, but we can't do it. I mean, and even today, we'd rather not be sending it right now. But so it's 88 degrees, which is pretty darn good for Dallas right now. And we're gonna ship it out in actually like half an hour. So hopefully it'll get even cooler.
And my strategy with that is always the heat will kill a snake a lot faster than the cold, at least with a colubrid.
Really?
Yeah, because we brumate them at 55 degrees.
So they're used to getting down to or their bodies can slow down, but when it's really hot, it just overcooks. Also, sorry, Chantel Stone is leaving, and I want to tell her, great, I'm happy you found your snake.
Bye, and congrats, I guess.
Yeah.
For finding your snake. But
sorry.
So I'd rather them be cold, and because we obviously brumate the animals at 55 degrees, so they don't have any problem. Not that I want to randomly go from 80 to 55 to 80 again, but
you'd rather them
but they're certainly going to ship better at 55 degrees than they are at 90. At 90, a corn snake is already in the danger zone. They really don't take being hot very well, so it's kind of hard to mess around with that,
How many ice packs do you put in?
All right, so for somewhere when I was shipping out to New York, I put in a 4 ounce because in New York it's going to be 88 degrees.
Oh, you only put in one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was shipping, say, the South, I was putting in an 8 ounce cold pack, and then so it's a little bit obviously double the size. Okay. And
what's the biggest size?
And the boxes are really small. I use 6x6x7s, and they're very, very small.
What's the biggest ice pack that they make for snakes?
I'm not sure. It's pretty big, but what I did to make sure, because this is very specific to corn snakes, so if you ship something else,
don't follow this.
Well, what I did to get where I wanted to be is I basically set up a dummy package outside, and then the 4 ounce ice pack was at a certain temperature, and the 8 ounce ice pack was at a
science experiment.
So
you should have made a video.
So I was, well, it just sucks because like you're doing like 100 things at a time. So it's like hard for me to make a video and doing all that. It's not like I'm just documenting what I'm doing when I make a video. I have to like actually put some thought into it. But
well, explain your trials. I want to hear. What was your hypothesis?
Well, what I did, I just shot the temperature at different times and stuff like that, and saw how long it lasted. And it did keep. What was it? I think the 8 ounce that I put in there, I put it on the porch. It was probably 100-degree day.
In direct sunlight.
In indirect sunlight. But it's an oven out there.
Yeah.
It's Texas. So it was 70 degrees in there.
For how long?
I didn't check all the way through thawing, but in the middle of the day it was 55 degrees and the ice pack wasn't thawed out at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But
so for the 8 ounce and the 4 ounce? You did
no, the 8 ounce, when I first put it in there and I put it in a small thing, like I was trying it on top of the deli cup.
Okay.
It was 55 degrees and then it was a little cold. It was 50 degrees. So, but I finally found the 70 degrees at 8 ounces or whatever works. So I just did that. But I need to do it. I need to do it for a longer period of time
just
to know for sure. Yeah. But I mean, don't totally overthink it, but we've been good otherwise.
Don't drink it, knock on wood.
I just don't want things to get freaking caught up. So today we'll be shipping out like 5, and it's kind of stressful. And every time until this last one, because even when we had one late,
that came a little late
last season, and it was fine.
Yeah.
And I always are on the side of it's fine because we never had one die before.
I know.
But now that we did,
now we're
the worst case
cautious.
scenario. So I'm super, super cautious. So sorry if people are waiting for animals. But Gustavo said he wants to wait to get his for a while. And
it's hot in Florida.
Yeah. But also, if I sent you that and FedEx lost it and it died,
you would kill them.
Yeah. So Gustavo's getting like the nicest anery I've definitely ever made her. But
well, the good thing is, if anyone else buys it or snakes after this week, we'll be a little bit less worried because Philly's cooler.
Philly's cooler.
Yeah, that's a nod at people keep buying our snakes. Also, because
we also need to like settle in, and I want at least like a meal into them in the new place to make sure everyone's like straight. So
yeah,
but and then also we have a couple people in Pennsylvania. So
oh, we do
yeah.
that want to buy snakes.
Yeah. Well, that bought snakes, but they're going to wait until we get up there.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's things arranged and things that worked out or didn't work out.
But speaking of that, to get these snakes out today, we have to end this podcast.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. We had our Weird Tuesday podcast, and it's only going to be an hour. But that is so Joe can get to FedEx and ship these snakes out before their last pickup. That is one positive FedEx. Yeah. I do like that their last pickup is at what, 8?
Well, let me explain, I guess, a little bit on how it works. So you can arrange pickup of a driver, but what that's going to do is you're going to have your animal
in their car,
in the truck for an extra amount of time. I don't want that. So what most breeders do, what pretty much all breeders do, is bring it right to their local hub. I think, I don't know what they call it. Do they call it even a local hub? I don't know. But ours, so depending on how far away your hub is from an airport, or probably how far it is from the hub as well.
From the big hub.
Yeah. So we're lucky that our hub is like right next to an airport.
Our local hub is in Arlington, which is close to DFW Airport.
Right.
Okay.
And then so they're leaving for their flight at 8:30 from the facility. So since I know that they leave at 8:30, I go and I drop the snakes off at like 8:00.
Yeah.
So that gives me less time. It avoids the hottest part of the day here in Texas, and
it's sitting there less.
It's in a box for less time. So that's the method. So that's pretty much it.
Also, last announcement, we will not have a podcast next week because obviously we are moving and we will not be, I won't even be there yet on Monday.
I don't even know like if I'm going to have the podcasting equipment or anything like that with me. I don't know who's
taking it. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
It's just the whole thing.
So we're skipping a week. We haven't done this I think the last time we skipped a week was Christmas.
No, I did Christmas.
Oh, you did. Yeah, so I don't even know the last time we skipped a week, which is crazy, but we gotta do it. There's no way it's gonna happen. But 2 weeks from now, we'll be back with a guest. I'm not telling you. Thank you guys for listening. If you message us on Instagram or Facebook during this podcast, we will get back to you as soon as we can.
If you message me during the weekend and you're like,
we got back.
This guy isn't talking to me.
Oh my God, I answered everyone. What are you feeling bad? We answered everyone. Why? I swear you love throwing me under the bus.
No, it's email that you didn't answer, that you couldn't answer because you don't have access to all the things.
I answered him. The Todd guy, I got back to him. What are you talking about?
No, you're okay.
Okay, excuse me. If you want to find us anywhere, Port City Python on Instagram, Facebook, PortCityPythons.com, the Pythons at Gmail. We will see you guys.
That's not even the right thing.
The PortCityPythons at Gmail. Next time we see you, we'll be in a different state. Holy crap. I'm scared. Wish us luck. We might die. I don't know. We have so much to do.
Sorry, guys. We're so
shut up
on edge.
Okay. Bye.
Rough week.
You have to leave.
Gotta leave.
Okay. Bye, guys. Later. You gotta not argue with me on the podcast. You are.